What's going on, everybody? It's Bunduk, your host of the Dukesday Podcast. I'm here to announce episode 3 of the original episodes released back in 2019. Now, on episode 3, I'll be talking about my 5 steps for branding and marketing yourself. Pay attention because I'm dropping a lot of knowledge on this one. Here we go. Welcome back, everybody. It's the Dukesday Podcast. I'm back live and direct. I took a little hiatus. I understand. I know y'all miss me. People been hitting me up trying to get on the podcast. But hey, I'm going to put a link down here and y'all going to be able to sign up to be a guest. I want to bring in people who can add different facets from different industries and help my listeners and our audience grow and understand different areas of life. But today for this podcast, I really want to keep it centered around branding yourself and merchandising. The reason that I wanted to take that approach is because right now I'm an artist. I got music out. I'm an entrepreneur I'm a full-time entrepreneur, honestly. And so the point that I'm at is converting my momentum through my branding and merchandising in order to find better ways to generate revenue for myself. So there's 5 things that I personally have learned are super important when it comes to building your brand. So the first thing I believe is focusing on what you love. The second thing is being able to tell a story. The third thing is being able to tie that story back into a bigger cause. Fourth is finding your niche, your target audience. And then 5th is creating unique products that match your brand. So that's the 5 things that I want to talk about today. So when you focus first, you want to focus on what you love. Why are we focusing on what we love? Because that's what's more natural to you as a person, as a human. We share commonalities, and what you love is definitely what somebody else is going to love. So for example, if you like basketball and you incorporate that into your music or whatever, or if you are a lady and you enjoy doing makeup, anything, and that is what's really gonna help you hone in and figure out how to approach it. Because if you're approaching it from what you love, what you're already interested in, it's going to be that much more easy to continue on that path. The second thing is being able to tell a story. You have to be able to tell a story. People want to know what you're all about, who you are. And that's why another reason why I do this podcast, so people can take a deeper dive into me. You could start a podcast and people can really understand what you're all about. And when you're using that story, you have to highlight your ups and your downs. It can't just be all ups. You know what I'm saying? People seeing all sunflowers and sunshine. Everybody in life goes through ups and downs, and they want something to be able to relate to. And your story is something that people can relate to, and they can have something to remember from either leaving a performance or for purchasing a merchandise. Like, everything has a story tied to it. Being able to tell a story, like if someone asks you, how did you meet your significant other? That automatically prompts a story. So what you want to be able to do is tell that story through your music, through your branding, through your merchandise. And now with that story, you always want to be able to tie it back to a bigger cause or a call to action for your audience. The big thing about stories is stories have been around since the beginning of time. The Bible, the Quran, the Torah, that's just all a collection of stories, and that's why it's so easy to be able to relate to it, to be able to latch onto it. And that's why religion is so big, People fall in love with the story. And when it comes to music and business and entrepreneurship, people fall in love with your story. People fall in love with your ups and downs. Everything is not just sunshine and butterflies. There's the difficult parts that you go through as well. And everybody goes through that. So if everybody can relate to that, that just makes your brand that much stronger through your story. And when you're tying it back to the bigger cause, getting people to play your music, getting people to spend money on your merchandise, that's why you want to complete it. It has to be full circle. So for me, I have a song called Thank God, and it's pretty much revolves around being grateful for the simple things. That's part of the story. When I was born, I almost died at birth. So I was literally born dead, not breathing. So it's just something that I tied to myself. I thank God for every day that I have, and that's why I keep that on my shirts. I keep that on my merchandise, on my brand. That's what I'm about. For you, it might be something different. When your story begins to align with your brand, that's when you start moving into the right direction. And then when you're tying it back to that bigger cause or that call to action, that is where your audience is going to be at the highest level of engagement, where they're going to really be focusing on you and looking at you. The next thing is finding your niche and your target audience. That's easy through your story, So if you have a certain story, you want to find people who have similar stories, people who can relate to that. There's a certain demographic of people. For me, I'm going to target more with, for example, a song called Thank God. I would target more faith-based people. I would target people who are focused on motivation, people who are focused on inspiration and things of that nature. So that's how it works well for me and my brand. For you, it might be a little different. So when you're reaching out to that target audience, there's so many different factors because the world is so diverse. You have to do your personal research and understand through, whatever your Instagram, Spotify, Apple Music, all those analytics that you already have at your disposal. If you have your music distributed, you can use those analytics to leverage Facebook, Instagram, TikTok, Google ads, all of that. So putting that together, being able to package it and understand what your brand is really looking like. So from there, once you find your niche and your target audience, you start making the unique products, just like I mentioned earlier, creating directly for your audience. And that's what we have to understand as creators. We're creating for this audience. We want them to be engaged with said product or service that we're providing. And so as a result, when you focus on what you love, you're able to tell a story through what you already love, tie that story back into your cause, your call of action, find your niche, your target audience, boom. And then you got your products and your merchandise. And that is what you'll ultimately be selling. And that's what it is. I just wanted to pop in real quick on the podcast, drop something for you guys. I know it's been a while, but definitely subscribe. Huge announcements coming up soon. So stay tuned in, stay tapped in. I'm signing out. Appreciate y'all tuning in to the Dukesday Podcast. Hope y'all have a good one.